welcome to the Lipstick League. I'm Natalie Eganoff,
And I am Nicole Mahalik.
and this is where sports and pop culture come to play.
What are you playing with there?
Oh, this was my honey stick.
Oh, with the honeys on it?
Yeah, that's what I was drinking in my tea. So,
When
Nicole,
I finally get a boyfriend, I'm going to name him Honey Stick.
I love-
Where's your honey stick?
wait, what is the 50 Cent song?
Magic
That's
stick.
Magic Stick. Yeah, I got the honey stick.
Did you see my bussin' it challenge that I did this week?
I did. Wait, so you sent it to me and I was like, this is amazing. She looks amazing. She's doing a great job. And then, but I didn't know what it was. I just kind of saw that everybody was doing it. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, clearly Nicole's doing it because she's way cooler than I am because I have no idea what this even means.
But you don't like dance and stuff.
Huh?
You don't really like dance, right?
Oh, I love to dance. I just,
I feel like you never in your stories or anything, you never play music or dance or be silly. I don't know.
I would like to. I should. I need to open myself up more.
Yeah. Because I'm really into listen, I went to the Gloria Dillon Studio of Dance in Tamaqua, PA.
So you were trained by the finest of the fine.
So I did the Savage Challenge.
Yeah, you did all. That's what I mean. You did a great job. And that's why I was like, of course she's doing this amazingly. And I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just I'm just so late with everything.
Yeah, but see, I think that I don't know, but you never look, I feel like because you never look, you're always look put together. You're always have makeup, your clothes, your hair, you never, the whole point of the Bussin' It Challenge is you're supposed to look I always do coffee under the covers with no makeup and my nightgown.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so good because you're supposed to do it where you look completely, disheveled and then you transform.
I did the quarantine one with someone.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
That one.
That was good with the makeup brushes.
Yeah. Once I get on that TikTok, I'm gonna really be I'm knocking it out of the park.
But wait, I posted it on Instagram and it has 31,000 views.
It does?
Yeah. It went
mini
viral.
That's amazing. You just posted that on what, Monday?
Yeah, Monday.
That's insane.
Yeah, I did it on TikTok and then I posted on Instagram and Instagram it went mini viral.
That's great. See, so it's working.
So anyway, Nicole is Nick if you want to see it. And I have that magic dress. So I have this dress that I got at Reformation 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That I wore to Jingle Ball. And it's I don't know what it's made out of, but I have to look up it. But it's this special fabric, and it doesn't matter if I gain weight, lose weight. It just always, I don't even have to wear Spanx with it.
It looks amazing on you.
It always makes it look amazing. It always my boobs always look amazing. You don't wear a bra, my boobs are just great.
Yeah,
magic dress. So I was like, you know what, if I need to do an internet challenge and I have a magic dress, and but people don't realize how much of a pain in the ass social media is. I had to record the first part in the morning in my pajamas.
Right.
Then you have to get ready and do the hair, the makeup, the eyelashes, the dress, and then record the other part.
See, and that's probably why I don't participate. It's because I get up and I roll into the station and I do my hair and makeup every day. So I'm I don't and again, the time, I wish, I just don't feel cool enough for that stuff.
Yeah, but you're cool. But I feel we're cool on different, you're just always cool. And I'm I always think one of my best qualities, it was really funny because when I was in The Biggest Loser, everybody was shocked about my transformation. And I was well, I know that I'm pretty, right? Yeah. So I think that one of my gifts is that I could go from blah to glam. But you're just always glam though. That's the difference.
I don't know. I don't feel like I'm always glam. Also, maybe I don't show as much as I think that I do on social media, of myself.
That's true.
Yeah.
But maybe because when we see each other, it's for this or we're at work, but you just have a cool style. You never look not glam, I feel like.
Oh God, you should see me when I roll into the station. My hair is like over here. I don't have any
I
makeup
mean,
on.
I'm sure I have seen that, but
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
I
And
don't know.
so
Yeah,
obviously, the biggest thing in sports this week is the fact that the Eagles fired Doug, which I really was shocked. Were
yeah.
you?
So Saturday rolled around, or was it Sunday? They did it Monday. So I think Sunday rolls around, and that was when the initial reports came out that said that he wasn't safe. And once those came out, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, no, like this isn't good. Like the way that things have been going, the stories that had been released to the public or to the press, which is something that I'd like to touch on, about the what was going down, inside the organization. I knew that he probably wasn't going to come back because, like you said, Jeffrey Lurie was either going to pick Doug Peterson or he was going to pick his $34 million asset, which is
Right.
he referred to Carson as in his press conference this week. So, like, I just kind of knew. And like the Eagles, the way that they plant um, information in the media, it's always to their benefit, right? So, like, if
Right.
a report comes out that Doug Peterson's on thin ice, it's probably because the Eagles put out that he's on thin ice.
1,000%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Doug's not just common sense would like deduce it to Doug Peterson is not leaking. Hey, I might lose my job this week.
Right. Right.
Because now the reports are coming out today that's saying he might take a year off
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
everything. I'm like, damn, the Eagles stressed you out that bad. You're
No, you know what? Him and Jim Schwartz are gonna be in Fort Lauderdale sipping Mai Tais, being like, fuck you,
that's
bitches.
right.
Like,
That's yeah. I mean, I don't know what happened in the Eagles organization. I have a lot of guesses. And again, I decided that I'm gonna write a dissertation at some point or a novel. I just like the word dissertation because it sounds fancy and it's like
and,
academic.
and it's very educational.
Yes, on the rise and the fall of the 2018 Eagles Super Bowl team. This is probably one of the final chapters of it because I feel like we're starting over from scratch now, right? Like the Eagles are
Oh
starting
yeah.
over again. Um, and it's going to be called A Spiral in the Sun.
I love that.
It's like the spiral and it's like quick when it's quick when it goes through the sunlight. Um, and so I have a lot of theories and I just think that when it all comes out in the wash, like we're gonna learn that what happened with the Eagles since the Super Bowl, and even before that, it's probably not as like hunky dory as we all thought. Perhaps it once was at one point. I think maybe the Super Bowl was a band aid on a situation.
Yeah.
They struck lightning in a bottle, but they were never built, and the organization is not built to be like a sustainable winning franchise at this point. And they've done nothing but hurt themselves.
Well, it's interesting. So my Facebook memories from 2 years ago, it says, this is honestly the best thing that could have happened. It made the decision easy. Nick Foles was average tonight. He will go play for another team next year, and he will also forever be hero in Philly. And now the Philadelphia Eagles can fully be Carson Wentz's team. I wrote that 2 years ago after obviously we lost against.
And then little did you know,
I'm like, that I thought that was the worst it got. That was the drama. That here we are, Carson and Nick and Carson. And like it just spiraled and spiraled and spiraled. And it really is fascinating from an organizational standpoint about how it wasn't built for success and how you look at other dynasties that managed to win, not even five in a row, but two or three in a row even like talking about the Saints and if Drew Brees is going to retire and the fact that what they've sustained over the course of the last 10 years, they always were in the conversation.
well, and that's the thing, right? It's about being sustainable.
Right.
And that's where I think the Eagles missed the boat is like they didn't really care about sustainability. Like
Right.
I just don't I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they thought was gonna happen or what they thought that they were doing or like but I'm not surprised that we're now at probably like rock bottom for the team since
Yeah.
it's been a really, really, really long time.
It's hard. It's been hard for me because like was on such a high for 5 years.
I think, and I think you're not alone in that. I think like the whole city was on a high and like had become a bit, and I don't mean this offensive to the fan base, to the Eagles fan base, a bit disillusioned with
Yeah,
with the reality of like winning in the NFL.
yeah,
And if I wasn't so like sports radio jaded, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I feel like I would have been the same way because it's like easy to get lost and think about um that year when you won. But then again, it turns into it's been how many years since you won? It's been 1 year. It's been 2
right.
years. Now we're at 3 years. You know what I mean? So if like if you're not building on top of like when you're at your like apex of
Yeah,
greatness, if you don't continue to try and build off of that, like it's a quick downward spiral. And I feel like for whatever reason, maybe it was like my instinct or intuition, just the way that things were playing out, I was like, they're not trying to sustain this like to the best of their ability. That's how I felt. And now Doug Peterson's gone, which
yeah,
I wasn't happy with him this year, but it makes me sad. And
yeah.
I think it's all about how Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie managed the relationships within their organization. Like they weren't trying to foster any sort of team environment, not only like for the team, but also for the staff. Like
Well,
you
yeah,
have
and
to all be
I
on the
think
same page.
what for me, it's like it's a couple things. It's like one, it's hard. I'm mad because like I don't like the Eagles right now, right? It's like the whole thing is like you can love somebody, but you don't have to like them. And I just don't like the Eagles right now. Like I always love them, but like I just don't like them. And I feel like annoyed. And I just like I don't want to root for them. And I'm just pissed. And like I'm just like, I want you to be horrible because you did this to yourself. And you now you know, like I'm mad. Like I'm like, I can't believe you put the fan base in this situation. I can't believe you are making me mad to be an Eagles. I can't believe that I don't want to be an Eagles fan right now.
Yeah, and that's the worst part of it.
It's the worst feeling, you know? It's the
I
worst feeling.
hold on, I want to play this for you. So the 97.5 The Fanatic morning show is staging an intervention. Well, they staged an intervention by the time this airs for the Eagles. And so everybody at the station recorded their plea. I can
Yeah.
now it won't matter because it'll already have aired. So here's mine, if you can hear it.
Jeffrey, may I call you Jeff? No? All right, I'm going to call you Jeff anyway.
Can you hear it?
All right, so I'm not here to yell at you today. I'm not here to tell you what you've done wrong. I'm not here to harp on the past and rehash what has gone wrong with this team in the last 3 years. I've been in this town for 32 years, and whether or not you're in denial about it, and I kind of think that you are, you and I know, along with millions of Eagles fans around the world, that we had the highest of highs just a few seasons ago. The ultimate victory was ours, and we
Oh. No. Hold on. Why does it do that? Wait.
the ultimate victory was ours, and we coasted on a sea of Super Bowl serenity. But now the seas have turned rough, a 4-win season, a quarterback regression unlike any the NFL has ever seen that led to the worst thing that could possibly happen to a franchise, a quarterback controversy. And now Philadelphia's beloved Doug Pederson is gone. The offseason drama has rivaled that of the Kardashians, and quite frankly, we don't need it here. All we're left with is the statue and memories of what once was. The boat is capsized, probably from the salary cap weighing it down, and the fan base is floating in an abyss of sacks, drop passes, locker room drama, and basically, we're all just sitting here waiting to be saved. So there are only two people who can turn the ship around and make things right, and that's you. In just a few weeks, you'll be at the helm of yet another NFL draft, and I ask that you simply consider the needs of your team. Don't overthink it. Don't try to outsmart yourselves. A stud wide receiver, a lockdown corner, or how about, now hear me out, I know this is a new crazy idea, a franchise linebacker. That is what will make the fan base happy. Winning makes the fan base happy. We want nothing more here in Philadelphia than to win. So just remember, this isn't about you, Howie. This isn't about you, Jeff. This isn't about anything else outside of the Philadelphia Eagles fan base. So I implore you, get it together and do the right thing, not only for yourselves, but for all of us.
Ready?
How is
Mic drop.
right? I wrote that. I was like, if I was gonna talk to them
What would I say?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I would say. Like I just need to paint the picture because I feel like and we've done this ourselves, you and I. It's easy to just like reflect and like harp on the past and like what went wrong, but at this point I'm just like it doesn't even matter anymore.
Better, right.
Now like you almost lost Carson, Doug's gone. Like there's nothing left of like
Right.
I'm sorry, like outside of I mean Zach Ertz is gone.
Right.
Jason Kelsey might retire. Like
Right.
you're thinking about who's left, Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, those guys from the
Is
team.
Zach does Zach have to be cut, right? He has to be cut, or is he just is he
Or
just a free agent?
They'll probably cut him.
Right.
Yeah.
But technically he still has a year left on his contract.
Yeah, but he wanted to work out for an extension.
Right.
And the Eagles, Howie Roseman, apparently promised him that they were going to take care of him after his last extension. And of course, he lied because they're liars too.
Right.
They do nothing but lie, which is why I'm like, I don't even care what your excuse is
Right.
for this year or last year or like what's gone wrong. Like it's so messed up and it's so done now that like
Yeah.
you got to get it together. Like,
well, and that's, I mean, my whole philosophy is that it was clear that Carson and Doug couldn't work together. Whatever is going on, they just couldn't do it. So it was Jeffrey Lurie had to decide, am I going to pick Doug or am I going to pick Carson? It wasn't that. Jeffrey Lurie picked himself. Jeffrey Lurie picked his $34 million.
Mhm.
So when people keep saying, oh, he picked Carson, he didn't. He didn't pick Carson. He picked his paycheck because at the end of the day, it's a business. And at the end of the day, Jeffrey Lurie really doesn't care. We won a Super Bowl. So like, he's fine going 2 years with just chilling because the franchise is still going to make him money. People are still going to talk about it. He's still going to be a billionaire. Like, you have to think in terms of that. Like, would it be great to have another Super Bowl? Yeah, but like, he doesn't really care. Like, but you know what he does care about? Losing $34 million. He sure cares about that.
Well, and how embarrassing that would have just been. Like, that would just be such like a stain on the Eagles franchise. I mean, this in and of itself, like this season and the way that this has all gone down. I mean, again, Mike Missinelli's been doing sports talk radio in Philadelphia for 20 plus years. He said this is the worst. He said there have been some dismal years. He was there in the 90s. Through like Ray Rhodes and like that era of Eagles football. And he said that this is the most embarrassing.
Right. Well, I mean, talk about a fall from grace. So, I mean, it's not a slight, just gentle little decline. I mean, it's like whoosh, done,
The fact that where it's unprecedented that you're firing the guy who led you to the playoffs and won you a Super Bowl 3 years ago. Like, it's just that bad. And
I think the other side of it, and we're not going to spend the whole time talking about this, but the other side of it is that Doug supposedly wanted to quit at the end of last season. And that even Jeffrey Lurie's statement, it seemed very mutual in a lot of ways.
Well, and Doug said he was tired of being told what to do, which is also, I think, very problematic and indicative of whatever the culture it was that the Eagles created there.
Yeah.
It's like, so I felt like the way that this is going is like they're all just going to try and blame each other for what's happening here, when it's all like you can just all point fingers at each other all day because like you're all to blame here.
Everyone. Absolutely. And I just, it is frustrating because like at some point it really just does become about ego and about like thinking that you really know. And a lot of times you just don't. And now here we are. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think there's like banging. I guess somebody's taking out their trash.
Oh
yeah. They're taking out the trash. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That's outside. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
No, totally about ego. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's ego. And I think it's the fact that like, they thought that they knew what they were doing and they didn't. And even like the players were, if you notice, like there wasn't a lot of players that like said anything about him being let go, which I thought was really weird.
I mean, they were just like, love you, coach.
Thanks. But not all of them.
No. And a lot of them I feel like it was just kind of like, yeah, we saw this coming. We've all been a part of this shit show too.
Yeah.
Like
Like
it,
even like Corey Clement, who like obviously, is not necessarily like a big part of the team, but he was like, whoa, today was crazy, but I'm just gonna keep it moving. Like he was like, he didn't even say like thank you. It was just like weird,
I think there's just such a disconnect. Like there's such a disconnect that everyone's kind of like, let's just be glad. I guess it's probably like when you're a kid and your parents are just fighting all the time. And you're like,
Right.
God, just please divorce already. Cause like this isn't getting any better.
So maybe they were just like, even though we're sad to see, because I think they liked Doug as a person, there was just like whatever the reason was that it wasn't working.
Yeah.
But
And now him and Jim Schwartz, you're right. They're gonna be in Fort Lauderdale, like at some tiki
yeah,
bar sipping
with
like
their own little golf cart. I'll
yeah,
get another pina colada, Jim.
yeah. I got you, Dougie. Don't you worry.
I mean, because they're both millionaires. Like maybe they're just like this sucks, and like we just need a break,
I know, but someday the tell-all is gonna come out and
But
it's gonna
when? Sometimes it takes so long for the tell-all.
A Spiral in the Sun. I'm gonna start working on that very
Yeah,
soon.
you have a lot of chapters. A
I
lot of
got a lot of
chapters.
chapters. I'm gonna probably start with the Carson Wentz draft
Okay.
because that for me was when I was like, this is it. Like I was like, this is the franchise actually doing what they're supposed to do. When they
Right.
when they like moved all those pieces and finally drafted their guy, which is why like I still can't let it go because I was like, this was it. They finally drafted a quarterback in the first round. He was second overall. Like that was it.
Yeah. But I mean, it was really funny because I actually found audio from 5 years ago when I was doing mornings on Mix 106 with Chio, and it was right after the Carson Wentz draft. And if you
Oh, yeah.
remember, they booed Carson. Do you remember that? That when he got off the plane, they booed him, and we had the audio. And I hated Howie. Like I don't know what it was, but I did this impression of Howie where I'm like, I call him the Squagglemeyer. And I'm like, hey, yeah, Kirsten, you ready to join the Eagles? You ready to jump on board and join our like? There was always something that rubbed me the wrong way, and Chio was like, I like this guy, like I think he's it. And then Carson was chewing the gum.
Oh
I
yeah.
forgot all about that, right? And like it's this
Oh, I
whole
forgot all
thing.
about that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking about, and Chio's like, but I just think he has it. Like I just think he has the it factor. And then it was like everybody got so excited. And then I'll never forget, I was in Iceland. I'm at a waterfall in Iceland in this literally like wooden hut trying to pee, and I get an alert from ESPN that they traded Sam Bradford and Carson Wentz is going to start. Like, and I remember being like, oh my God. Like I remember like how exciting that was, and I guess I just feel so. There's so much that fell from that moment, that I don't know.
You know what's funny too is like I feel like I've been through this a million times with all the organizations in Philadelphia, right? Like I've
Yeah,
been there for the peak in my lifetime and I've been there for the pit in my lifetime. And it's just like I'm a bit disconnected now to the point where like it doesn't upset me as much. I'm more upset for like the fan base who is still like clinging. It just makes me sad for all the people who are still like who still have faith in the organization. Like I feel like and this is very probably sports radio induced. I feel very jaded
yeah,
because I'm like, but it like they didn't capitalize when they needed to. Like I'm like, I knew this was gonna happen. Like because like I watched it with the Phillies. Like the decisions that were made, and it's like history repeats itself, right? Like there's models for this stuff. So
yeah. And I think what I struggle with is that Super Bowl season was so incredible, and I'm like, are we never gonna feel that again? Like it was, I think that's what makes me so mad slash sad is that looking at the pictures and remembering, in fact, one of our coworkers, Sarah, who works at MMR, it's her wedding anniversary. And me and three of our other coworkers, and she was showing us some pictures, and she got married the day of the Minnesota game,
oh my God,
the
yeah.
NFC championship game. And they were like, they were mad at, they're like, who books a wedding on a Saturday? Like, and she's like, she is not into sports at all. And she's like, well, what do you mean sports are on a Sunday? They're like, not for the playoffs. And it was this whole funny thing about how they're at the church and they're trying to watch the game on their phones. And like, And I remember being at my friend's house and like watching that game and driving back and like being on Broad Street. It's like the joy and just that what that was like. And it's like, are we never gonna feel that again? It's like that magic, right? And it's like we felt it with the Phillies in 2008, and then it was gone for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's not an every 10-year thing. Uh, I'm hoping
They
we
need to
get,
build another Comcast tower. That seems like it's the deal.
but like again, it's just like it's just chasing that ultimate high, which is why I've
That's
been.
why I've never done drugs, because I get it. Like I think if I would never I've never even smoked weed, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy. But I think it's because now I know why, that like I love the high, and then it's the disappointment when you don't get it. And I was like, oh, is this how people become addicts?
Yeah, I mean, probably, but like, which is also why I keep like and again, I've said this before, this season I've been like foot to the neck on the Eagles organization. Like I'm no holds bars. I've been like just telling them exactly what I think. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just because like I don't like you need to stay on top of your shit to be successful again.
Yeah.
And
Well, it kind of goes back to the episode we released last week. Does Philly ruin athletes? Do they ruin coaches? Like, what is it about Philly? Like, you have Sean Payton and Drew Brees. You had Belichick and Brady. You had, now granted, Aaron Rodgers went through 2 coaches, but still, it was only 2, and he's been there for over a decade. You have Russell Wilson in Seattle. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these examples of these. Even Matt Ryan in Atlanta, right? Like with Dan Quinn, like Dan, obviously it's ran its course, but they were together for almost 10 years.
yeah.
And had success. I mean, it fell apart recently, but like I just get so annoyed where it's like, how did we let this happen? Like, why couldn't we have been, or Mike Tomlin and the fucking Steelers? Like, it's like you have Ben, you have like they're just there, and they're just every year they're in the conversation, and he's the head coach, and Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback, and they were just always in it.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't figure it out.
No, not this time around at least. But I'm hoping. Here's to hoping that they draft well.
So, do you want to talk about the Sixers now, or should we do our Super Bowl picks?
Oh boy. Let's do Super Bowl. Shall we flip the games this weekend?
Are we gonna do all the games this week, or just the Super Bowl?
Wait, hold on. What do you mean?
Like, are we just gonna pick like who do you think is gonna be in the Super Bowl?
Oh, I can give you my
Yeah, because this will air after the games are played.
Oh,
right?
That's right. And did we talk about me turning a new leaf with Tom Brady?
No.
So I actually tweeted it out. So after
sometimes I can't see, sometimes it's hard for me to see all your tweets.
No, I know.
Usually, like, I mean, I do always give you props that you're like the master giffer.
That's it's my spiritual talent.
Yeah.
So after we talked with Bex last week, and I hope you all listened to that episode. If you haven't, Bex is our friend from 97. She was on 96.5.
Yeah, right? 96.5. Oh, is Bex gonna air and then this is gonna air?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought so, right?
Yeah, but you didn't post Bex yet, right?
No. Bex is going up like this week.
So when you're listening to this, if you're listening out of order, we're doing a series where we are going to interview badass, mostly chicks. I think there'll be some men sprinkled in from different cities across the country. And we're going to talk about the difference of Philly and these towns. So our friend Bex, who was on 96.5, used to be Wired, and then it was TDY. She's now in Boston. She came on and we talked about the difference of being in Philly and how they treat athletes compared to Boston. So we're going to do that for different cities, and it's going to be kind of like an ongoing series. And I think it's going to be really interesting because my theory is that Philadelphia screws everything up and ruins people.
Yeah. So after we had that talk with Bex, I did a lot more self-reflection on my relationship with Tom Brady.
Okay.
And I feel like I've now resigned to the fact that perhaps I should turn a new leaf with him.
Wow. Okay.
And there's a part of me that like wants him to win the Super Bowl.
Wow. I mean, I wanted him to win the Super Bowl since he went to Tampa.
Yeah. I mean, it's taken me some time. You know, he did put out a tweet the other day and I like chuckled. I was like, you're funny, Tom, aren't you?
What was it? He is funny. It's annoying, isn't it?
He's so funny. And I do swear that like I feel like he and I would get along really well. Like I'd probably be like, really good friends with him.
Because you're both very quick and have a good wit to him. I always think that's crazy. I'm like, how is he so good looking, so good at football, and like he's really funny on Twitter and social media? Like,
yeah.
And like in interviews and stuff, he's even funny.
Yeah, he's great.
I know.
So I know. After we had that conversation, and of course, I'm like, is my anger misplaced? Am I confusing like anger for like perhaps some sort of like love, if you will?
Okay.
I'm like, as you know, as soon as we hopped on the conversation with Bex, I'm like, tell me about what it was like with Tom Brady. Like, I am pretty like preoccupied with him.
Yeah.
Like anything that he does, I need to know what he's doing because like I want to make fun of him because I'm still mad. I'm like, am I still harboring feelings from like 2005? Like I've been talking shit on like that 2005 Eagles team about how like McNabb and like T.O. are still having beef after all this time.
I know.
Yet here I am. 16 years later, removed myself, and I'm still like mad at Tom Brady, even though we ended up beating him again.
Yeah.
We ended up beating him. Like Nick Foles beat him in the Super. Like that should have like closed that chapter of my life, but I'm still like harboring this like deep down resentment. Like,
total side note, do you remember that crazy tweet that the kid sent out before that season? Do you remember that? Like there was this random kid where it was like June of the Super Bowl season, and he was like, yo, just had a dream that Nick Foles beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, LOL.
Yeah.
Remember that? Like that was just like the craziest thing. I just remember like talk about like
he probably I mean, I would probably talk. I don't think I'd ever talk about anything else for as long as I lived if I was a kid.
I gotta find that tweet. That's epic.
So,
but I mean, I just am at the point where like I love greatness and I love people who are obsessed with greatness.
So do I, which is why my like struggle with Tom does not make any sense. And I'm turning a new leaf. Like 2021, new year, new me.
I love it.
Here I am, Tom.
And don't get me wrong, I love an underdog too, right? So like I love an underdog, but I also love greatness. So like it's the middle that I'm just like about. Like honestly, like Drew Brees, like despite the fact that he did that whole idiotic, it's about the flag. I'm like, you've been a professional athlete for 20 years and you still don't get racism? What is going on? So despite that,
yeah,
I'm okay if he loses, right? Like he's got a Super Bowl, like whatever. Russell Wilson's the same way. Like they're great, but like I'm okay if they don't win. But like Tom is the level of LeBron, or like when the Warriors kept winning, right? It was like there's that level of like that eliteness that I just am obsessed with, because Tom Brady won and just was like, I'm not done. I don't want to go to Brazil with my supermodel wife. I want to prove that I don't need Bill Belichick, that I could do this with somebody else on my own at 43 years old. Like there's just something that I'm obsessed with. So when he went to Tampa, I was like, they need to win the Super Bowl. Like I want them, and I wouldn't mind if Kansas City won either again. You know what I mean? But I also would love if the Browns won. But anybody else in between, I don't care about.
So that's my dream scenario is Buccaneers Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean,
Andy gets to take on Tom again.
Yeah.
And then does Tom beat Andy, but Tom didn't beat Andy's protege with a backup.
Right.
Oh, wait. And also here, not to like go down the rabbit hole of, you know, since I am trying to be a better person with Tom Brady. Did you see how after the Washington game, he went up to Alex Smith and was like, shook his hand. And he was like, you're so.
No, and he cupped his face. Did you see how he cupped his face?
See, that's like,
And he's so much taller than Alex Smith. Did you notice that? I was like, I'm like, what? But he literally, I rewound it just to see how he cupped his face. Yeah. But you thought that was patronizing?
No, but like he would never shake Nick Foles' hand.
Oh yeah, because he has an issue, and he won't just. And that's another thing. Like, I wish he would just own it. I wish he'd be like, it pisses me off that I can't beat Nick Foles. Like, I wish he would own it rather than being like, I don't know what happened, right? So like, if you just own it, but yeah, it was interesting. But like, I would be like. That would ultimately be what I want, is same. Like, I really want the Bucks and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
I know. Like,
I would like the Browns to be in it too, because I think that would be amazing, because they're the ultimate underdog.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Baker Mayfield annoys me.
He totally annoys me too. And I've also come to the resolution. I'm like, how many more years does Tom have left?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he might play until he's 50. Who the hell knows? But yeah, so I've turned a new leaf, and yes, I want Tom Brady to win the Super Bowl.
I feel like that's really boring that we both want the same thing, but whatever. We're not going to be like a shticky radio show where we're going to disagree just to disagree.
No, well, we also might change our minds. I mean, I might like wake up tomorrow and decide that I hate him again.
Right. Good point.
This is a very fluid situation for me. Like, I'm experiencing a range of emotions, because even me bringing up that he like didn't shake Nick's hand, like, I want to go down that spiral and talk about why that's so shitty, but like, I will not, because I'm turning a new leaf. And Tom, if you're listening, which I'm sure that you are, I know Giselle listens to the Lipstick League.
Absolutely.
We love to have the two of you on.
Oh my God, of course.
Yeah.
We'll eat avocado pudding and lentil tacos as we record.
And there will not be a tomato or what is it? A midnight green vegetable?
No, nightshade.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
so eggplant, tomatoes,
pepper. There will be no nightshade vegetables or leaves of any kind. Just avocado pudding, and what is the other thing?
Lentil tacos.
Yeah, so I'm on board. I'm actually trying to do the Tom Brady water challenge again.
But you know what though? Everybody, like, remember when there was that Boston Globe article came out years ago? It was probably like, I don't know, 8 years ago at this point, and everybody made fun of him, like, lentil tacos, and I was like, this bitch is in the playoffs on another team at almost 44 years old. Oh, so guess what? Now Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson and LeBron, now all the elite athletes are taken after Tom.
Yeah, and eating lentil tacos, which maybe I should have lentil tacos.
It's about inflammation. Yeah, we should get the TB12 book and like cook the food and eat it for a week and see how it goes.
We're totally doing that. We should do it the week like leading up to the Super Bowl.
Hopefully they're in it. Yeah.
Yeah, or even just whatever. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it like soon, because that would be so fun for us to do.
TB12 cookbook, and then it's like avocado ice cream, and it's like lentil. Of course, I've looked it up before.
I'm gonna get the TB12 enzymes.
Yes. Oh my God! And then we're gonna be like ready for our flag football league.
Ready to take over the world.
So let's talk about the NBA really fast.
Yeah, I just need to grab my computer charger real quick. So you open the convo. I shall.
Okay. So obviously NBA is back in full swing. By the time you're listening to this, it's official that James Harden left Houston, and he's not a 76er. He was traded to the Nets. I just didn't think that the Sixers wanted to completely get rid of Ben Simmons. But a lot of people said to me, actually, they didn't want to get rid of Maxey, because he's been so good and he's just like killing it. Matisse, it's interesting how Matisse was like such a star last year, and now he's like not really part of the conversation. And I love Matisse Thybulle, but the biggest story obviously is Joel Embiid. And what was interesting to me about, and the reason that we're doing the Lipstick League is because we like to bring awareness to other conversations. So obviously Joel Embiid's playing phenomenal and he's killing it. And what he did in Miami the other night, where he literally like took the entire team in the game on his back and won in overtime. But isn't it interesting that when Carson Wentz became a dad, his game suffered, but when Joel Embiid became a dad, his game became better?
Um, yeah, I feel like so Joe's life is basketball, right? But it's also he's also like always been a very like family oriented man, I think. Like, and he left his family in Cameroon
Yeah.
to come to the United States and play basketball, and his brother died. And
Yeah.
I don't know if he got back over there in time. Like there was a lot of weirdness around
No,
that.
he never got to go to the funeral or anything.
Right. Like so like I think that there's a lot of holes in Joelle's life that may have been like unfulfilled,
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
isolation, not isolation, I shouldn't say that because he's here and he's with teammates, but that's not being with your family.
Right.
That's not losing your brother who was your best friend. So
Yeah.
I think that like Joelle has found maybe like a new purpose and like a new
Yeah.
spark that like makes him want to play better, makes him want to be better because he has his own family now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me so emotional.
I know.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
and he named obviously his little boy Arthur after his brother. So maybe it is that. Maybe he there was this piece missing when his brother was killed. And I think again, so many people associate these athletes that just because they make a lot of money that they're not lonely or they're not sad. And I think that like imagine having your family be in Africa and not only that, but like English is like his sixth language. You know what I mean? It's like they shipped him from Africa to Florida. He lived with his host family. Then he went to Kentucky for a year. And then all of a sudden he was with the Sixers, living in a new city. Like it's a lot. And it also makes sense to me why last year I feel like he was so out of it because of the pandemic and then being in the bubble, knowing that his girlfriend was pregnant alone. And he probably was worried, is the baby going to be healthy? Is she okay? And then I think once he realized everything is okay, and now he has this new purpose that he just is like, okay, like I can now give myself to the game.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I don't think Carson, I don't think he necessarily had any voids, and I don't like speaking about athletes like this because you never know what goes on behind
No,
closed
totally. But
doors.
I just, it's an observation that it's very obvious that they both became dads and they both, their play has been, it could have nothing to do with it. But my mom always said, so the year that Donovan's wife was pregnant with twins and he was in a slump, and my mom's like, I'm telling you, Nicole Ann, it's because the babies, once the baby, because they were born premature and then they were in the hospital. She's
Mhm.
like, once the babies are home, I'm telling you, he's worried about the babies. And she was exactly right. And so I sometimes I think it's subconscious that they're not even aware why
Oh,
it's affecting them,
yeah, yeah, no, and I think Carson, like, his entire life has been football, and there's a part of me that believes that not that he doesn't care about football as much, but like he also found this other joy in life where, and especially inside the organization, right? Like if he's
Yeah.
not treated right, it's always something I've told myself recently over the last year or so is it's about reciprocation. Like you get what you give, and like the energy you put into me is like what I'm going to give back to you. So
Right.
Carson could probably be at this point where he's like, well, I don't really know if my head coach likes me. Um, the GM just drafted somebody to breathe down my neck. Like, what's going on? Like, and again, it could be subconscious. It's like, what's going on here? So it's like, again, a subconscious thing. When you start to drift away from somebody or something,
Uh-huh.
and there
Uh-huh.
could be a reason that you're not necessarily sure why, but if he's not supported there, and then he goes home to his loving wife and his beautiful daughter, it's just kind of
Yeah,
like,
he seems so in love with the daughter. He's
yeah,
always close to
yeah,
her.
and then also you think about somebody like Joel, and you think about the Sixers organization, which I find to be the gold standard here in the city of
Yeah,
Philadelphia. I think the gold standard's the best league, or the NBA is the best league in all of
absolutely.
except for what they did with the Sixers this like last week with the games and making them play.
Yeah,
And that's a story for a different podcast. But I no, I mean the Sixers is a really supportive organization, and it seems like you know, with Doc Rivers in there now, he's just rallying everybody except for Ben. So I mean, I don't even know what's going on with Ben, but to take 2 shots
I
that
know.
night against the Heat, like we talked about this on the Does Philly Ruin Athletes podcast. We talked about him extensively. We've talked about him before. Something's going on. And actually, like, that kind of makes me sad that, like, he can't even. And again, that was another game where they were shorthanded and there was so much pressure. And it reminds me of that playoff game against the Celtics where he had like 1 point. And
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, what is going on? Like, it needs to snap. So, like you were saying earlier, the trade rumors were it was Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, and Tyrese Maxey. Maxey has come to Philadelphia. He is just this beacon of light
Yeah.
and
And
says,
unexpected.
yeah, and he says, everybody asks me why I'm so happy. Like, I'm happy to be alive. I'm blessed to be playing basketball. Like, he just has this world as my oyster, and I'm so thankful to be here. And like, I can't imagine that's like that type of attitude and this kid coming in, you know, and he's like, and I got somebody who was it? It was like Danny Green or somebody was like just telling him like, just take the three, just shoot the three. You know what I mean? Like, he's getting all the support. And then
Yeah.
it's what's going on with Ben. It's there's layers to the Ben Simmons thing, but you know what? He's going to be here now, and there's a part of me that's hoping that him being on the trading block and them being willing to get rid of him, but it was Maxi that they weren't willing to part with.
Right.
Maybe maybe that is what will spark the something that will break down whatever the barrier is that he's dealing with. Because Lord knows what it is at this point, but I cannot imagine like being out there and just being so I will not shoot the ball right now.
I know.
I can't like I'm also somebody who's
That was, but like to put it in perspective, so our job is to talk. We get paid to talk on the radio, right? That when the microphone comes on, and you know, for you, it's when Mike goes to you, you have to have something to say. You have to be prepared. You have to have something to say. For me, I control the mic. So when the mic goes on, I have to talk. It would be like us refusing to talk.
yeah.
Or like I turn on the microphone and I go, XTU, and turn the microphone off.
So I will be honest, my first couple months with the Fanatic, I came in, I killed it. Maybe a month or 2 in, I started to get the yips when I was
Okay.
gonna do my updates.
Okay.
And, there was
How so?
I would freeze
Okay.
and I wouldn't be able to talk. It was bad.
Okay.
It was bad for a minute. Tyrone Johnson.
Yeah.
This is before we were on Mike's show. This is a year before.
Okay.
Ty and I happened to be working together. He hit the sounder for me to go do the update and I completely froze. So he had to dump it. This is a behind the scenes thing and I'm being very vulnerable about myself.
Yeah. Good. We need Natalie be a little more vulnerable. We're pulling her out of her shell.
Yeah. So there was a point where like management was like, we didn't think that you were going to make it. But Tyrone was like, you just got to keep pushing. He's like, you can't let that one, you can't hang on to that because what happened was I would like mess something up. And then the next time I would go to do it, I'd be so afraid that I'm going to mess something up. And again, I came in and I killed it. And then I don't even know what happened. It was something, and it was a very brief period of time. It was like, I mean, they wouldn't let me on the air, right? If it was that bad.
Right.
But I want to say it was maybe like 2 to 3 weeks. And I would have good days and then I would just have a bad day. And when I had a bad day, it would just be so bad.
Right.
Because I would start off bad and then I couldn't get it back.
And you couldn't get yourself back up.
Yeah. And I was only part-time at this point too.
Right.
But yeah, Ty was like, Nat, like you can't hang on to those mistakes.
Yeah.
He's like, because I had the yips. So like I can identify with like those mental barriers. But at this point, you know, it's all about confidence and it's all about like self-deprecation, right? And like not being so hard on yourself and not taking yourself so seriously and being able to make yourself vulnerable.
So it's just so funny. Total side topic, but there's this woman on Instagram and her name is Turtle Creek Lane. And Turtle Creek is the fanciest part in Dallas, right? It's where Jerry Jones lives. It's all the rich people live there. And it's this Instagram account. She has like over 600,000 followers. And she's this super, super, super Dallas housewife. I'm talking like the big blonde hair, the perfectly coiffed clothes. And she started to become viral because she does these elaborate decorations. She has 5 kids, or, you know, they're millionaires. The husband, she loves her kids. And she's like, hi, everybody. Welcome. Good morning. Let's all take a moment to discuss gratitude. What's your gratitude? Right? Like super extra. So over the weekend, she's in San Antonio visiting her daughter, and she's in the hotel room, and she does this whole bit about gratitude, and a vibrator is on the nightstand behind her, right? So everybody sees, and it's like the OG magic wand vibrator, like Samantha from Sex and the City, which, by the way, Sex and the City is coming back.
Yeah. After you finish the story, we have to touch on that, and then we have to talk about sex in another TV show.
Yeah, it's sexy time.
We have to talk about Bridgerton.
Yeah, and so anyway, so the OG, you know, magic wand vibrators in the back, and so people, you know, notice it, and she just owned it. She just starts, she like did a couple more stories, and she's laughing. She did the swipe up where to get the vibrator, and she just like owned it. And then I like did a story about it and tagged her in it, and then she sent me a voicemail, like a voice memo, and she was like, Nicole, thank you for being so sweet. I was either gonna laugh or I was gonna cry. And I said, you know what? You know, women need to feel good, and we're just gonna laugh about it. And I was like, I'm obsessed with you. Like, you're the coolest. Because this woman who, like, her whole shtick was like the epitome of like perfection. And there's a vibrator on the nightstand, and she just owned it and just like laughed. And I was like, you know, Walmart's going to be out of stock now of these vibrators, because that's where it was. She linked to Walmart, and it was just hilarious. But I think it's so important when you just own your shit. You don't take yourself too seriously. Like, everybody makes their mistakes. Everybody screws up. When you get to laugh at yourself, it makes everybody else respect you more. And like, if you just own it, if you just own that, like, I'm, you know, whatever. And like, that's the bottom line, is like, he's not owning it.
Yeah, he's not owning it. And I feel like once he does, and once he allows himself to be, I guess maybe just who he is, because I feel like there's a part of him that feels like, again, he has to keep up with this persona, and he like has to be Mr. Cool on Instagram. And that's youth.
Yeah.
That's youth. That's youth culture now. I'm glad Instagram didn't come along until I was, I guess, like, I mean, I was still in my 20s, but like, I can't imagine if it came around in my teenage years, like what I would be like trying to be something on Instagram, you know, because everybody's trying to be something. Like, that's the whole thing. But
well, and here's the thing, it doesn't matter how many Instagram followers he has if he starts to suck more at basketball.
yeah, that, and like, it doesn't, like, that's not going to bring you the joy that you think it is, right? Because people think that having followers on social media and like having all this clout is actually like that is what's going to make you happy, when it's like people who have the most followers are the saddest.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, like, I mean, like the Kardashians, whatever, like,
right,
there's a part of me that's like, I know that they are very rich and they live these kind of weird robotic lives right now, but like, there's a reason why they're all like royally fucked up, and like,
1,000%.
and
Yeah.
like, I can't imagine that they have like profound happiness in their lives outside of their children. I'm sorry, I hate to say that, but I just don't see it. And like, even Kourtney Kardashian, you watched her struggle with it publicly.
Yeah.
You know? So speaking of Sex in the City,
yes,
how do you feel about it coming back?
I think it's fine. I mean, it kind of annoys me that there are so many reboots, because it's like, you mean to tell me that there's no one in Hollywood that's coming up with new, fresh, amazing, original content that like we're revisiting? But like, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what it's like now. And I talked about it on the radio, obviously, about how when this show came out, it was before social media. It was dating and love and breakups and sex before dating apps and social media and the swipes. And so now they're going to be all in their 50s on the show, and who knows what like their life is. And obviously Samantha isn't coming back, which they're making $1 million an episode. And she was that pissed off at whatever Kim Cattrall said, no, I'm not coming. Like turned down $10 million.
Who do you think the issue is? Do you think it's Kim or do you think it's Sarah Jessica Parker?
I think it's a combination. I think that like Kim probably is annoyed by her, but I think that Kim's probably also annoying, you know?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like Sarah Jessica Parker is the show. Like she's Carrie Bradshaw.
Because didn't the issues start when she was like, it wouldn't be Sex in the City without Samantha Jones? Like I feel like I remember hearing that back in the day.
Yeah. So what played out publicly is that Sarah Jessica Parker always said that Samantha's the show and we need her and we love her. And then Kim Cattrall's like, you're a mean girl. You're mean. Like she basically says Sarah Jessica Parker's like an awful person, but Sarah Jessica Parker always says like, we love her. You know what I mean? Tries like, I don't know.
But but then you think about it, like if Miranda, God forgive me, I can't remember her name. What is her name right now?
Cynthia Nixon.
If Cynthia Nixon and Kristen Davis and coexist with Sarah Jessica Parker.
Correct.
And like they seem like decent enough humans.
Yeah, and like I always tell this to people, like it's funny because it's like when you think of like work and then people think of TV shows. So they watch on a TV show and they're like, oh, do you guys hang out all the time? And they're like, no. And even like you and I, right? Like we know what's going on in each other's lives. Like we know real personal information. Like we're talking about vaginas and periods and everything, but like we don't hang out on the regular.
Right.
We have like our own lives.
Yeah.
And so that's how it is. Like when I did mornings, like I loved working with Chio and I loved working with Logan. I love working with Matt, or even like Charlie, who I'm super close with at work, who, you know, I know about her daughter's college tuition and the financial aid, right?
Yeah.
But like we don't hang out on the regular. So there's like your work friends that know like everything, you know, about your mom, you know, your mom found your dad's Viagra, but then you don't necessarily hang out outside of work.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's 10 episodes. You're getting paid $10 million. You really hate her that much that you can't suck it up to do a couple of scenes. Like it's acting. Just act you like her.
I know. It's really weird to me. And there's a part of me that thinks that she thinks it's going to fail without her.
Right.
And I like Kim Cattrall. Like I enjoy her and I enjoy her work, but it would just be so good if they were all together. Cause I was a Sex in the City, like devotee. I didn't watch it until college. My dad was obsessed with it when I was young. Yeah. My dad.
I want to watch it.
Parker.
I want to go back and watch it now when I am like, when I'm their age, like I'm the age that they were. So like, I wonder what that would be like.
Well, you know that I recently only started watching modern TV like not long ago. I never really watched like shows. And it's because like I watched Sex in the City, and like if I ever came home and I wanted to just put on the TV, I would watch Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Still, like for years. Like that's the only TV show I watched. My mom would be like, "You've seen this episode 6 times." I'd be like, "I love it." But no, like I've watched it recently. I go back. I have 2 favorite episodes. I have the I Love New York episode. Do you remember the one when Big is moving to Napa and Carrie shows up at his house? Well, she calls him because she's lonely and it was turning fall.
And then they get together and then his fiance finds her at the house, right?
No. This is after.
Okay.
This is after the affair. This is like after the whole big affair. This is when he was moving to Napa.
Okay.
And so she goes over to visit him, and she goes to his apartment and he opens the door and she's like, "Where's all your furniture? You've been robbed." I can say this whole scene. And he goes, "Yeah, that's why I'm leaving New York, the crime." And she's like, "Leaving New York?" And he goes, "I'm moving to Napa." And she's like, "You can't move to Napa. You take a Napa. You don't move to Napa. You're the Chrysler Building. The Chrysler Building would be all wrong in a vineyard." And then they danced to Harry Mancini, Moon River in his living room.
Oh. And what happened?
So then he moves to Napa, and then that's the end of season 4. And it was also the episode, I think it was the commemorative episode for 9/11 because the title of it is I Love New York.
Okay. And so what's the other episode you love?
The other episode I love is when Big goes and rescues her in Paris. Like, I love the whole Paris, the finale, part 1 and 2. Like, I could watch that over and over again.
I love when she can't find her necklace and it's in the lining of her purse.
Oh yeah, that's the American Girl in Paris.
Yeah. I remember like getting chills because it's like that necklace was so her, and she lost her necklace, so she lost herself, and like it. Yeah,
I know.
I mean, their relationship was so toxic, and it definitely like that's a whole podcast in and of itself, and maybe we'll do that as a bonus episode, just about how like TV and movies have romanticized like what women should want, and like men in real life aren't men on TV, and so like women are constantly disappointed or they feel like they're settling.
Well, that but also like the toxicity of her relationship with Big should be modeled, and I was like, I want them to end up together. And now that's what I mean. Like now when I watch it and I look back, I was like, there are red flags falling from everywhere. Like he cheated on his wife with you and like still wasn't with you. Like, come on, girl. Like, I mean, they end up together. So I am really intrigued to see where they are now. Cause I loved Big.
Yeah. And then I love what they did with Charlotte and, what the hell's her husband's name?
Harry
and Steve and Miranda. Like, I loved that whole, like what they did, and I don't know, it'll be interesting to see in fact, I got an email today from some like betting site that you could bet on what you think happened to Miranda. I mean, Samantha, like, did she leave New York? Did she die? Did she move to Abu Dhabi?
Oh yeah. I bet
like,
you think they
like make bets.
Do you think
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think so. But so yeah. So okay, so we're gonna talk about our snacks of the week. So I'll give my snack first because your snack leads into the other sexy talk. So my snack of the week is Mike Stefanski, who's the head football coach of the Cleveland Browns, who is from Philly, went to St. Joe's Prep, and he's so hot. Like, he obviously couldn't play in the game. He wasn't at the game because of COVID, and they said he was in the basement and he couldn't have a phone or something. So, of course, I had to Google him, and I was like, who is this? And why don't more people talk about him? And I talked about it on the air. I'm like, are you Mike? If you're listening and you're Mike's cousin, or like you hung out with him like in Roxborough, tell him to call the show.
Is that where he's from?
I don't know if he's from Roxborough, but like St. Joe's Prep's like right there.
Yeah.
Like, he's so hot. He has this like scruffy beard. Of course he's married. But I was just like, yum.
Wait, did you say Mike or Kevin?
Oh, it's Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, Mike Stefanski played for the Reds.
No way.
Yeah, that's
wait, it's Kevin Stefanski.
That's why I was like, wait, does she mean Mike Stefanski? I was like, because I think he's like an old baseball player. And then I was like, was I misinterpreting it this whole time?
Well, I'm being vulnerable and I have a fetish for grandpas.
Yeah.
No, Kevin Stefanski. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know why I thought Mike.
No, that's because you've probably heard no, it's Kevin Stefanski. Yeah, he's totally a fox. I didn't realize he was 38.
Yes. But he's married. So annoying.
Of course. I mean,
like, why can't I meet Kevin Stefanski somewhere and be my husband?
Look, you never know what's going to happen. What's going on? Oh, his personal life. Oh, he's married to Michelle and they have 3 children.
Yeah, and I looked her up. She's cute.
I know. Look, he's probably not the one, but he is your snack of the week.
It's my snack of the week. All right, your snack of the week. Also, I'm going to share your snack too because I'm down with this snack. In fact, the whole country's down with this snack.
Anybody that I've talked to, I've kind of like bridged the conversation to my snack of the week, and his name is the Duke of Hastings. His real name is like Gene. What is it? His real name
is, who cares?
Yeah, everybody has tweeted about him, and I just put up an article, and I was like, I watched Bridgerton for the Duke of Hastings, and like
Oh,
that's it. Nicole, after Bradley Cooper, again, I'm turning some new leaves this year after thinking more on what you said about him. I feel like this Duke of Hastings might replace him.
like,
I feel I will watch whatever this man is in for the rest of my life. When
yeah,
he came onto the screen in his ascot
yeah,
with that accent, I was like,
I know.
I was
I
like,
know. And then he had the lines, like when he took off his shirt and he has the lines right here.
the
Like,
boxing, and I'm like, where have you been all my life? And like, why are you just getting into television right now?
figures that Shonda Rhimes finds him. Shonda found him.
He fell out of heaven into that show because I was just like, this is the most beautiful man
I know.
I've seen.
And I mean, the memes are just like, wait, where's the one that was so funny today? That it says fuckboys in 1813. It is because I regard you so highly that I cannot marry you.
Oh my god. Yes.
Like it's like it's so true. Oh, let's do this. This is your Bridgerton name, okay?
Okay.
So lady, and then your oldest child's middle name. So like we don't have kids, so your sister's the oldest in the family, right? So what's your sister's middle name?
Marie.
Okay. So Lady Marie, what's the last, you drank tea, right?
Yeah.
So it's ton at the end. So Teton, and then your car is a Fiesta, right? So you would be Lady Marie Teton of Fiesta. So mine is,
yours.
so I'm obviously the oldest. So my middle name's Anne. So it's Lady Anne Waterton of Focus.
Focus.
That's why Natalie and I really want you to please subscribe and review and share our podcast, because we want to get out of our Fords. Natalie drives a Fiesta, I drive a Focus, and Ford doesn't even make our cars anymore.
No. We would like to be I would like to be Lady Marie Teton of like Mercedes, and Nicole would like to be Lady Ann Waterton of
BMW, Infinity,
Beamerville.
Beamerville.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but no, he is just, if you haven't seen Bridgerton, it's just, did you figure out who Lady Whistlebaum was?
I didn't know until the end.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little, I don't want to give too much away for anybody who hasn't like watched it yet, but there were a couple characters who I really like couldn't stand.
Okay.
She was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a couple characters I was just like,
It took me a minute because like with period pieces, you always have to like figure out what they're saying first, you know?
Yeah.
But then like once I got into it, do you watch Younger? Do we talk about that?
No.
So Younger is like one of the best shows. And I couldn't figure out why Daphne looks so familiar. Then she plays a character in Younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's funny.
Character's like ex-girlfriend. And my friend just told me, she's like, that's why. I was like, how did I not realize it was Claire?
Yeah.
But no, it was a much needed fun series. And like, I love the fact that like no one knew who he was, and he's so hot, and like, it just,
now everybody's speculating that he's going to be James Bond. And I was like, I've never gone to the theater for a James Bond film, but I will now, right in the front row.
Get our COVID vaccine, off to the theater we go.
So I can go watch the Duke of Hastings do whatever it is that he's going to do anywhere at any time.
And you know what's really weird? Like their chemistry wasn't even like off the chart. Like their pairing, I don't know, like it was good, but I've seen other couples on TV that I like more, but he's so hot that I was obsessed with it. Do you know what I mean?
With how she treated him, or how they treated each other?
No, just that like he was so hot that like I couldn't get enough of it. Whereas even though Olivia and Fitz from Scandal, like their chemistry was like insane. Or Marianne and Connell from Normal People, like, oh my God, like their chemistry. Like there's other characters from shows that I thought had a more intense, where I felt more connected to them. But he's so hot, and like the sex scenes are really good. That like
I was gonna bring, that's what I was gonna say about the sex. Like the sex scenes, it was just so funny how like there was like very minimal, and then it was just like once they got married, it was just like us watching them like consummate their relationship. And I love how I can't even say it.
say it.
I was gonna say the climax is the climax.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
like, and that's what it's all about.
Ding. But it's so funny you said that, because I was talking on Coffee Under the Covers about how I love a good sex scene. Like I love romance and I love. And so like there are people that love sci-fi and they love creatures. They love the werewolves and the vampires and I don't like any of that. I like love romance, sex. Give me all the good stuff. And so somebody messaged me, right when Bridgerton came out, they're like, ooh, if you love a good sex scene, you're going to love Bridgerton. So I'm like I'm like,
hello.
Yeah. I could rewatch Scandal. Like what, come on, cause I love the romance part of it. You know what I mean? I love and my friend Tracy's like, oh my God, the sex scenes in general. I'm like, oh my God. But like when people are in love and I love, like, that's my favorite part. But like,
I felt like they were tastefully done too.
They were so tastefully done. Yeah. It was phenomenal.
I know. So, I mean, I will definitely be watching anything that he's in, especially Bridgerton.
So,
Lady Whistledown.
On that note, shout out to Kevin Stefanski and shout out to Dukes of Hastings.
Yeah, I'm gonna get his name. It's like Gene something beautiful.
Yeah, let's get his real name and then
I followed him on you follow him on Instagram. Best decision I've ever made. No, I'm kidding. No, I just haven't been this like blown away by
yeah. You know who I love?
Reggie Jean Page.
What is it again?
Reggie Jean Page.
Yes, look him up. But I loved Henry, and I'm not always attracted to it takes a minute for me to like be really, really, really like into somebody that I watch once. And I loved Henry Golding he was in Crazy Rich Asians.
I've never seen that. I've heard great things about it.
Oh God, so good. Like he's so hot. I mean, and then my ultimate snack, JJ. He's so hot. Look at the smolder. And the wink. Can you wink?
Oh yeah.
Can you go? Oh, I can't. I can't. It's smooth.
Gotta do the Danny Tanner, the Uncle Jesse, Michelle Tanner wink.
Yeah. And that's another thing. When a guy can wink and smell good, oh my God, take off your clothes.
You hear this, gentlemen? This is the way to Nicole's heart. Wink at her and have your best cologne on.
Best cologne. YSL La Homme is like the best.
Oh.
So good. There's a couple different versions now, but the OG YSL, it's delicious. A good cologne and a wink. Oh my God. Melt you right there.
And I feel like perhaps that's how we should leave this episode.
So please subscribe to the Lipstick League. I'll leave a review if you can.
Cologne, gentlemen. Practice that in the mirror.
You can slide into the DMs and prove that you have good cologne. I don't want cool water. I hate cool water.
I still wear that.
Yeah, and then there's Jean Paul Gaultier, which is the bottle one, and that's the one that like the guy that broke my heart wore. So I can't have anybody wear that because
I feel like Jean Paul Gaultier. Men still wear that? Because I feel like that's what guys, like people in like college
wear. I know, that's what I'm saying. You can't wear that.
Oh, you need people need to smell like 2021.
Yeah, like go to Macy's, go to Macy's and let Roseanne give you some samples.
Yeah.
All right, give the socials.
Okay, so you can follow us on the Lipstick League on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm Natalie Egenoff, Natalie Egenolf, everywhere.
I just want to everybody know that it's 12:03 in the morning, and Natalie and I have been on Zoom since 8:30.
I know, I was just thinking that.
So I just want people to realize like that this is how come. So we like chit chat first, and then we record. So like we're that 4 hours of chit chatting. We did 2 radio shows
I was
basically.
just gonna say, me and Nicole like to do all radio all the time. You just record us 24/7. That's
Oh
fine.
my God. That would be so fun. I mean, I don't really do much except like do a couple Peloton rides and like lay on my couch. I think you a little more bebopping than me.
I mean, a little bit.
And Ginge would be in it, so she'd be a star.
You know, she's sleeping now.
Is she? Yeah. All right. I'm Nicole is Nick, Nicole is Nik, and it's the Lipstick League, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and thank you.
Mwah.
Mwah.